What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now today on the table in front of us, we've got a new Twosun knife to look at, so let's do that. This is the TS166. This is a Wang Denzin design. It is very well done. Twosun Knives continues to show exactly what can be done for not a lot of money if you're willing to go through eBay or their AliExpress store. This is D2 TC4 titanium running on ceramic ball bearings. This was $46. Now, that happens sometimes on eBay. You may pay a little more, you may pay a little less. But for 46 bucks, this is one heck of a pocket knife. Now, again, it is D2, and I have kind of D2'd my way out, except when it comes to Twosun. They are really good at what they do when it comes to their D2, and this is no exception. Look at the blade on that thing. It's just gorgeous. Their grinds are exceptionally nice. This is about 3.5 millimeters of D2, and it is very, very, very slicey behind the edge. The blade is an interesting shape with a very simple and straightforward overall design. It does have a hole through it, which is attractive, but you can't, at least I can't, use it for any opening purposes. I imagine if you had smaller thumbs, you could get in there. I can almost. Now, it's just not going to work. But that's okay because the flipper never fails on this thing. I can shake it out. I would say that it is a medium detent, but it did come perfectly centered, just dead on. And unlike most Twosuns, this one didn't come absolutely soaked in oil, which is a really nice touch because when I opened it up, usually I've got cleaning cloths and all sorts of stuff laying around, but this one actually came pretty clean. It was really very nice. On the inside, the titanium is milled. And I know you're not going to be able to see that on camera. Oh, there it is. There's a little. And on this side, which is the show side, it's even more so. I don't know if I'm able to catch that this time. Maybe. The milling is really well done. The handle itself is milled out beautifully. Look, this is a great pocket knife. And it's not small. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 inches long. The blade is 1, 2, 3, 3 3/4 of D2, a little over 3.5 inches of cutting surface. This is a full-size pocket knife. And for 46 bucks, are you kidding me? That is an absolute win. The plunge grind is perfect, and it's got this beautiful choil, so it doesn't fatten up at all at the base of the blade. This is a great knife. Now, I know I keep saying that, but I had kind of given up on Twosun. I really don't enjoy the eBay process, but you can get these on their AliExpress store for a few more dollars than I paid. If you are looking for an excellently made knife in good materials, it's hard to go wrong here. It really is. As I mentioned, I think, this is a Wang Denzin design. As it says, you can see it says Wang design on the blade. It does say D2 right here, and it has the Twosun logo on this side. Other than that, the blade is relatively clean. I mean, I get it. That's a fair amount of billboarding, but it's not bad. The rest of the knife is super clean. On the show side, we've just got 2 screws. We got the pivot and 1 screw, Lock side's got a little more stuff going on, but that's for the pocket clip and the hardened steel lock bar insert. It has the traditional Twosun pivot, which I have come to really appreciate. I like these things. It is, again, maybe I didn't mention that. It is running on ceramic ball bearings. So the action is very, very good. I really enjoy knives like this. It shows you what you can do, you know. I mean, look, you can spend 200 bucks, $200+ on a really expensive, you know, titanium and, you know, much higher end steel knife. This one happens to be in CPM 20CV. If that's your interest, but this is about $260. 46 bucks. Look, for that kind of money, I don't see how you can go wrong. It is very light because of that milling. Twosun is a strange company. They make a lot of knives that I don't really love so much anymore. I thought I did, and I've sold most of them. This thing is really surprisingly good. It does have a couple of hang-ups. Let's do that first. One, it has a milled titanium pocket clip, and Twosun has got a real problem in their pocket clip zone. This one is well done, but it is really stiff. Like, I mean, break your fingernail stiff. Which means, while it has plenty of space for good jeans, and the ramp is done well enough, you can get in and out. Excuse me. There is a fair amount of pocket pull when you're pulling this thing out of the pocket. Let's take a look and see how deep it carries, because I find that interesting, if not the most interesting. Yeah, see that? Even getting the paper underneath, there's a little bit of a hang up. But once it's under, you get about 2/3 of an inch of knife, a little over 1/2 inch. It's not too bad, but as you can hear, it's really stiff. You could bend that away a little bit, but then you risk having the click noise from a bent clip. I wish Twosun would invest a little more in their pocket clips, because that's a beautifully done clip. It's just a little too stiff. Let's look at this thing closed for a minute. Look how beautiful that is. The overall shape of this knife is absolutely spectacular. There's milling across the outside of the handle. Everything is chamfered. Everything is smooth. There are no hard edges, no sharp edges. It is exceptionally comfortable in hand. It has lots of handle, which is really very nice. It's a little thin this way, considering the size of the knife, which means when I hold it this way, there's a little bit of rock, but not much. The swell back here means that it sits down in the palm, up against the pinky really well. It doesn't want to move, which is very good. And, you know, again, if reverse grip is your thing for any reason, the way this handle is shaped, your thumb falls right into the right spot, and you are in really good position for stabbing. I don't recommend stabbing anyone, but if you were gonna, this is not a bad knife to do it. The milling is beautiful. It's almost got, well, it's got a very modern look to it. I am just thoroughly impressed. The one place where I don't really understand why they did what they did is there is some jimping on the blade right here. And while, yeah, you know, it does, I guess, hold the thumb a little bit, it's very slippery. I think that they would have been better off doing a little bit of a ramp or just leaving it clean, because quite frankly, that jimping doesn't do anything at all. I feel the same way about this hole in the blade. While it is interesting looking, and I'm sure it has something to do with weight reduction, when the knife is closed, it doesn't line up with the swells in the, doesn't line up with the handle, and it doesn't do anything. I can't get my finger in there well enough to flick it, and I certainly can't roll that out with my thumb. But that's going to happen sometimes. Let's take a look at how thick this thing is closed. It is just over 1/2 inch closed, which is a really nice size in the pocket. I don't know. I think for $46, you cannot go wrong no matter how you look at this thing. And I think that's really sort of Twosun's party piece. Now, they do make knives in considerably more expensive steels. Up through S90V, they make a ton of M390 blades, but you pay for those at this point. And while you're not paying perhaps Riot or Wii prices, you are paying a premium. Whereas their D2 is persistently good. The heat treat tends to be excellent. They are very slicey. I think this is really their lane. I think that they make excellent knives in TC4 titanium and D2, and I'm very glad to have this one. I really am. Let's do a size comparison before we go. Here it is up against our old friend, the Rat Model 2. And as you can see, dimensionally, these are very similar. They're very much the same length. You get a little more cutting surface on the D2 on the Twosun than you do here on the Rat Model 1. If I, there it is, put it up against the Rat Model 2, you will see that it is much, much larger than that, of course. Look. This is a lot of knife for not a lot of money, and that is really how Twosun made their name. The TS166 Wang Denzhen design is another phenomenal knife from Twosun for not a lot of money. And quite frankly, if you're interested in an interesting looking and yet really sort of straightforward pocket knife, the TS166 might very well be the knife for you. I know it's the knife for me. I'm super glad to have this as part of the collection. I think it is beautiful. Let me know what you think down in the comments. On your way out, if you could hit that little like button, because it does help the channel, I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. I'd love to have you here on a regular basis. I can talk, watch me go. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time.